Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint and Fabrication. Well, we're jumping right back onto the hood and trying to get this thing straightened up. Now, we got the sides looking really good. We still have the repairs to do here, and it turns out that this one has too much of an arc this way. We need to flatten it out. So let's jump in and take a look what we're up against. Fortunately, I have the old factory hood, so I'm able to make templates off of it. That's what we have here. So you can see the one in the back, that's on that back brace, and if I get the camera low enough here, you can see we've got a gap across there because it's arced too much. We need to flatten it out. Then I also made a template of the windshield wiper cowl as it's bolted to the car right now, and then this line here represents the top of the hood, the top side of the hood at the back where it meets the windshield wiper cowl. So let's go ahead and flip this hood over and match those up and see what we're up against on the top side. All right, this is a template of the windshield wiper cowl, and as you can see the line right there, the hood is too low, then it goes flush, and then it's too low again on this side. That line starts showing up again, and it just means that the hood is arced too much, not flat enough. And if you guys recall, this hood kind of raises up right here at the last few inches, so we have to get that down to match the side of the fender. Then we have to flatten this out to match a windshield wiper cowl. So we're going to have to do both at the same time. I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go, but let's just dig in and give it a shot. All right, step one is going to be to cut the inner structure right along this line right here, and hopefully that'll give us enough room. We can clamp this and pull it together, get a tack right there, and it'll hold it so the side profile matches the fender. Then we have to worry about the other part. So let me get this cut and see what happens. All right, we got it cut. It's not very pretty on the corner, but we need the maximum thickness right there. I may need to open that up a little bit more. I don't even know if this is going to move. We may need to bring the cuts back farther as well just to get this thing to move. I'm going to go ahead and get a clamp and just see if it'll move a little bit, and then we'll go from there. Okay, I got a piece of 3/4 inch plywood underneath with a piece of cardboard to protect the skin. Little 1x2 block on here, and we are doing something. Watch right here when I crank on the C-clamp. See it buckling right there and starting to pooch out there? So the strength of this, it's still spot welded here and here. So I think what I need to do is cut these spot welds loose and actually cut the spot welds loose all along the back side here and make all this move together. I think what the plan should be is to bring this piece up as far as we can to give us some wiggle room to manipulate the skin to get that little hoop-de-doo, last minute hoop-de-doo out. And then with the skin loose on the inner structure across the back, then we can manipulate it flat. But I think we need a little bit of wiggle room because these are touching. So let me drill out some spot welds, and we're probably going to have to cut this a little bit more and really move this last few inches of this and get it tacked. All right, guys, we got all those spot welds cut all the way around here and all the way around there. So literally we have the spot welds cut on 3/4 of this skin, and it's loose. You know, it's not connected to the inner structure back here. So I went ahead and cut this a little wider so we could squish that down. But I'm sitting here thinking, Mark, I'm only 20 spot welds away from taking this whole skin off this inner structure. And I'm starting to think maybe that's the better move. It seemed pretty scary last week, but I have to try to rework this, so that's correct. Then I gotta flatten this out, which means probably making cuts in here, because I can't bend it with the skin on, it'll just destroy the skin, and flatten that out. And I have templates for all this. So I'm really leaning towards cutting the rest of those spot welds, cutting all the flutter kit loose, and just taking this skin right off the subframe or the substructure, and then reworking it and then putting it back together. I did consider taking the inner structure off that factory hood and then putting this skin on it. But they're a little bit different dimensions, and I'm afraid I couldn't get it back together. And that one would have to be repaired as well. It's got some funky holes in it, have to be sandblasted, sealed, the whole deal. So yeah, give me a minute to think about this. I don't know what I want to do, but I'll be back in a minute and we'll figure it out. All right, guys, go big or go home, right? Well, I was just looking at this piece here, and you know, I've cut it right here along there, and I could get that to squish down a little bit, but this is doubled up. You can see the spot welds where the inner brace for the hinge plate is, and that's to strengthen it all the way out to there, so while you're pushing down against the hood springs, you don't taco the whole thing. So I can feel it's doubled up, so really I need to cut on this side as well, over to here, and then I'm not welding that inner brace back together. I'm only getting the exterior. So kind of talked myself into just cutting all the rest of the spot welds and taking the skin off here. So we have to drill out over here, just one or two right here, and of course across here, all the way over, and then a couple over there. And then there's some where that brace is attached to the inner structure and the underside of the hood scoop. So I've got some drilling to do, and then we're gonna see if we can't separate this inner structure from the skin without screwing anything up. All right, guys, I think we're ready to lift this off here. I got those spot welds cut. I got all the flutter kit, the little spots of that. I think I got it all. There were a few that were hidden. And it's a little tight on the side because they bend in a little bit. So let's just give a shot here and see what happens. So far, so good. Put some gloves on here. Make sure I don't slice my fingers off. Got it. All right. Wow. Can't believe we got that. Hopefully we didn't damage the skin at all. All right. Pretty happy about that. Now what we have to do is get this thing straightened out, get it into spec. All right, there it is. That's the area we need to work. That's the other area. You can see it doubled up. And all the little dots of the flutter kit. So we're not looking too bad. Just put the skin over here, and amazingly, I don't see any buckles or ripples or dents or anything on it. So getting it off there, we lucked out. Now we need to get that inner structure reworked to the templates, and then we can put the skin back on. Well, that escalated quickly, didn't it? I should have pulled the skin off from the very start, but I was too skittish to do it. Turns out it was the right move to pull it off there. So I've got the inner structure on the hinges. It's pretty much adjusted. I mean, without a skin, you know, I only got it on there centered. But we've got some interesting things going on here. So let me go over to the driver's side, and then we'll jump over to the passenger side and compare the two. All right, this is the driver's side, and you can tell it's not near as bad. Obviously, it's sticking up way too high because that needs to be below the fender. But if we go over here to the reinforcing plate for the hinge, and we put that right there, you can see we've got, I don't know, that's less than 1/8 of an inch right there. Let's go over to the passenger side and see how that side looks. Okay, so if we compare the passenger side, I mean, that thing is probably twice as far up than the driver's side. Then if we put this over here, you can see that gap between the reinforcing plate is even larger. So this could be wrong. I know this is wrong. And if you stand back and look at it, it's almost kinked right here, like this whole corner is just taken and lifted up. On both sides, this side's just worse. It's just more pronounced. So I think what I need to do is get these corners down like they belong before we even try to flatten this out across here. And we do have another problem. Like I mentioned before, I've got this shimmed up, so this is nice and flush across here. Now the hood is hitting on that plate right there. So we're gonna have to cut this apart and fix it, not fix it, but modify it to make all this work together, you know, make it nice and beautiful. So let me take a look at this for a minute. I'll bring you back and we'll get to work on trying to fix this thing. All right guys, about an hour and a half later, this is where we're at. We're on the car test fitting it, and I think I made some progress here. So what I did was I cut this around here a little bit farther inside, and what I ended up doing was putting some elaborate clamps on here to help just grab this and push this down because it was all flared up too much. And then once I got it where I wanted, I had to recut this gap a couple times, then I got a couple of tacks on there. So now this kind of goes whoop like that. And the reason it does that is I think I figured out what went wrong with the manufacture of this hood, this repop. So this piece is the inner brace where the hood hinges bolt to. It strengthens it so you don't taco the hood. And it looks like it's stamped the right dimension depth-wise. The problem is this piece was not stamped deep enough. So when you lay this piece in, there's a gap right through here, at least in this area. Then they came over here with a spot welder and spot welded it. What it did was it just yanked this sheet metal up. And so this whole corner right here came up. Then they throw the skin on it and then they just spot weld it all the way around. They don't know, probably don't have templates or anything to check anything. So what I'm trying to do by cutting this out, I'm trying to get that back down, basically make this piece more shallow, at least in this area, and then we've got the sheet metal where we want it. I do have a little hoop-de-doo right here that's fairly easy to fix. This is fairly thin sheet metal, so I'm pretty sure I could probably push it down with my thumb and get it where it belongs, but we are making some progress. So let me mess with this a little bit, try to get it down, and then we're going to test it out and see exactly if we got where we need to be. All right, I think we're making some headway here. So if I put a straight edge right here and we look at it, it looks pretty good, almost zero gap. We come over to the other side where we haven't touched yet, and we look up inside there, and there's a huge gap. So you can see it V down right there. So I think what I want to do is go ahead and kind of duplicate this, what I did on the other side on this side, and then we'll put it on the car, see how it fits. Obviously we won't know until the skin's on there, but I think we're heading in the right direction. Once we get both these ends done, then we could start seeing about flattening out this arc just a little bit. And then, yeah, then we might be done, at least with this part. I cannot believe this is actually working. So we're down here real nice. Still a little low right in this area, but we're gonna use that same, we're just gonna put the screws in like we had it. It should fix that. It's down on that side, and that side was up almost 1/4 of an inch. Now we're down below where it belongs. Similar thing over there on the gap. So I think we've got kind of this part whipped. It's looking really good. So we're down over here, down over there, but now we're basically flush, or maybe just a little high at the windshield wiper cowl, which is no good because by the time we put the skin on, it's going to be way too high. So we have to take some of this arc out. It's pretty flat already, but it needs to be flatter so everything's kind of the uniform all the way across, so when we make our adjustments, it matches this exactly. So I think we're just going to go low tech, take it off, put a block over here, block over there, maybe and a block on top, and just kind of stand on it a little bit, push on it, and see if it's going to come out easily, or if we have to get a little more heavy-handed with it. Okay, I got my best high-tech wood blocks out. So I've got a block here right where the bumpers hit when it's closed, and I've got a block, they're all the same dimension right there, right where we did the work, same thing on the other side, so it's got equal distribution. And then we're just going to go ahead and put a block in the middle. So if you guys look right here, you can see that it's just, you could just see the line, and you can see the line right there, but once I push it up, it disappears. It is probably at least 1/8 of an inch too low. I've got it set so that one's actually a little proud. So what I want to do is get that one to match this side over here, or both sides actually. So I'll put the camera down, and I'm just going to put a block of wood and just push on it a little bit and see what happens. All right, I want to put the block across kind of all 3 of these so the weight gets distributed properly. We're not just putting a point load on it. And let's just go ahead and push on it. Oh boy, that's a little tougher than I thought it was going to be. Let's try my foot. Wow. Whoops, that was bad. It just bent. Well, we're not that far off though. That was a mistake. I need to pull that back up and get it to bend a little more evenly, but we're pretty much right on the money over here. It's still a little high right here. Just went too far, I think. Let me see if I can reverse that. Okay, a little closer. That looks pretty good. I'll bring you in close. I'll put a little clamp on here and we'll check it out. All right, guys, it's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to stop there and not push my luck. So the reveal looks pretty even. It's not ideal. It still seems a little high in the middle, but I think we have enough wiggle room. When we put the skin on, we can certainly adjust a little bit. I think we're going to be fine. Now, we're pretty much done with that part, reshaping. Now we need to move on to kind of beautifying this before we put the skin on. And I did have to order this stuff right here. It's kind of an expanding foam rubber, and 3M makes it. And once I cut this and I knew the skin was coming off, I went ahead and ordered some. It'll be here in a day or so. So in the meantime, we need to patch this thing. There's a lot of holes in this thing that I don't need and I don't want. The holes over here, those are access holes to get to the screws to screw the hood scoop on. Welding the hood scoop on, so I don't need those. We got these big janky holes that shouldn't be here that we need to make patch panels for. So while we're waiting for that stuff to come in, I think we'll go ahead and get to work on that. All right, let's see what we're going to go ahead and fill on this thing so it looks pretty. So we got this big hole here, don't need it. Big hole here, don't need it. I got these 3 holes here we already just talked about, and we got these janky things on each side. Luckily, I have an abundance of crappy hoods around, so we're going to go ahead and cut a patch panel out of each side here, and then we'll set it up in there and scribe it in. So let me cut those off real quick and see what they look like. All right, a little rusty, not bad, still pretty solid, pretty hot though. All right, I'm gonna get these cleaned up and then we'll take them over, try to trim them down a little bit, see if we can scribe them in. All right, we got these cleaned up real nice. I threw them in some muriatic acid for a little while and they cleaned up pretty nice. It looks like the stamp is pretty much right on in this area, so that's gonna save me quite a bit of work. While those were soaking, I went ahead and made up plugs and kind of bent them to shape for all these holes over here. So I've got pretty much all the patch panels or the patch pieces I need to get all this welded in. So let's go ahead and let's get some bluing on this, I think, and get these scribed in, see if we can cut them to fit, get those welded in. All right, let's get these marked up here, scribed in. I think I'll use the TIG welder on these big ones, and some of these smaller holes I'm just going to weld in. I'll probably use the MIG. Probably work out a little bit better. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get both of these scribed up and trimmed to fit, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to weld them. All right, we got that one. It's just got tape holding it in place. Nice fit on that one, and this one came out really nice too. So lucky I had that old janky hood I can cut parts off of. So it's a pretty tight fit there. So I'm going to go ahead and use the TIG welder. We'll get it tapped into place, and then we'll get it full welded. All right, let's get some tacks on this thing. I'm just going to tack it and then tap it around and get it flush and then tack it. All right, it's pretty flush. Blew a big hole right there I'm gonna have to fix, but it's feeling pretty good, pretty hot. I'm gonna go ahead and weld it up, and then I'll bring you back. We're gonna get this ground up, hammered up, and I think it's gonna come out pretty good. All right, guys, we're fixing stuff we shouldn't have to, but as you can see as the light goes through it, the shape's really good. Got it ground and sanded really nice. It's gonna need a little filler, but not much. We've got some good shape there. While I was welding, I went ahead and got these here, got this. This took quite a bit of filler rod because we had that hole that was open. And I got these over here. I haven't ground or done anything with those. I haven't done that one yet. A Yes welder sent me a welder to test out, a TIG welder, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and do a video and review and test it on that little spot right there. I haven't done these either. I gotta kind of sit down inside here. It's gonna be a pain in the butt, so I'll do those off camera. But we're looking pretty good. I got this one ground pretty good. You can see quite a bit of shavings down in there. I used the burr tool to knock the tops off the welds. But this video is getting a little long, and I just got an email saying that that stuff I need from 3M is going to be delayed 2 or 3 days. So I think we should wrap this one up. I really wanted to get the skin on this video, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. This thing really snowballed on me. I'm putting patch panels and doing all kinds of stuff on this thing that I hadn't planned. So it's going to take 3 videos, I guess, to get this hood all back in one piece. Man, what a can of worms I opened up when I decided to fix this hood, didn't I? Now, we have to have a hood, and it's got to look as beautiful as I can make it inside and out. And if that requires me to put patch panels and do all this extra work, that's what I'll do. When I started this video, I guess I was naive. I kind of thought it'd be done right now, but this is where we're at. And this is kind of thing that happens when you're doing these cars. You start one way, and the next thing you know, you're going a totally different direction, and you got a lot more work on your hands. But I think it's worth it. To me, it's worth it. It'll take as long as it takes to get this hood looking as beautiful as I can make it. So yeah, really want to get this hood back together. Sorry we didn't make it there, but we will for sure next week, one way or the other. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell and drop me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you on the next one.